Welcome everyone in this new video tutorial about the multiplayer combat editor. In this video we're going to talk about multiplayer modifiers. So it's going to be kind of a bit of a technical video. You might have some troubles understanding everything, especially if you don't have some multiplayer background, but I'll try to keep it simple and organized so you can properly follow and understand what you are supposed to do when it comes to multiplayer modifiers. So first, what is multiplayer modifiers? Well, it's just the name I'm giving to the system that allows us to modify stats, skills, actions, etc. On the network so that everyone receives the information. So for instance, if you learn a perk that says your fireball becomes an ice ball, we have to make it so every player knows that knows that have this ice ball, or else it will still cast fireball on his computer because it doesn't know that you learn the talents that transform your fireball into an ice ball, if you know what I mean. And MCE comes with several built-in ways to add modifiers, and they are already broadcasted to the network, so you don't have to worry about that. And in the form of the statuses and the passive effects. So status and passive effect both grant both use modifiers and trigger modifiers, but they are already system implemented with MCE, and they are treated in the network like the rest of MCE features of the MCE features. But maybe you want to create some, and modifiers are not networked by default for performance reasons. You might have a lot of modifiers on your map, and we don't want them to be replicated all over the place without any control over it. And so passive and statuses are built in to handle that in a proper way without much bandwidth overload. But maybe you have some system of your own that you want to implement to give modifiers to players and make it so everyone gets the information. And moreover, and there is a problem with the fact of just saying, hey, I tell everyone that now you have a nice ball when you learn a talent, for instance. It's easy to say that, okay, but now there is a player that connects to the game after you learned the talent. We still need to tell him that you learned the talent, but he wasn't there when you learned the talent, so he missed the information. When it comes to status and passive skill, they are already handling that quite well. But if you build your own system, you're going to need something to make it so even if a player is being disconnected and reconnects, or just someone who is connecting a bit after you learn your talents, we have to make it so these players got the information as well. So MC provides one feature to do that, but it's a one-way feature. You cannot remove modifiers with it. You can only add them. So if you have, for instance, a save game, or if you want to, for instance, if your character has learned 10 talents, and you store that in your save game, when the character connects to the game, you want your character to tell the other players that he has these 10 talents. So this is what the feature is for. The built-in MC feature called add networked modifier is built for that kind of moment, when you need to actually set up a modifier which is going to be broadcasted to the network and then stored in memory so that everyone gets the information when it connects to the game. So this is kind of an easy setup. You have The system is built using a manager called Networked Modifier Manager, and you have to implement that in your game state. So we are going to do that going into our system. If you don't know what a game state is, it's an actor which is spawned at the beginning of the game on each machine, and it is used to handle game events that every machine needs to know about. So this is the perfect place where we should be creating this. Game state is a built-in Unreal architecture feature. So if you don't know what it is, you can find on the internet Unreal game architecture. So let's create that create the game state by right-clicking, creating a new blueprint class. We want to create a game state. We want to create a child of game state base. Let's call that BP my game state. And now let's tell our third-person game mod that it should spawn our game state by default. So game state class, we need to choose BP my game state. So it's going to spawn our game state by default. Now we need to open up our game state. And we need to add a new component, which is going to be a network modifier manager. And then we need to go to class settings, add a new interface, which is going to be network modifier. Go to find network modifier manager function, which popped up when we added the interface. Drag and drop our component, plug that in, hit compile, hit save, and we're good with the simple setup. And now we can be calling the functions. What is that function? We're going to open up our third-person character, and then we are going to say we're going to right-click and type in add networked modifier. So what is this? This is the function you can call to add a modifier to a target, and you have to be running this on server for it to work. And you can be calling this either on the character or the controller or the player controller. So for instance, if we hit play, we have that character. It's fine. What can we try out real quick? We are not going to try out anything. I'm just going to show you the basic way to add modifier. Let's imagine you have a widget. Let's imagine you have a widget in the middle of your screen with 3 buttons. Each 3 of these buttons are asking you to choose to learn an ability, and you can choose one of the 3 abilities. Let's say you click on the first one, and it sends a message to your third-person character that it needs to learn a talent. And talents in your game are modifier. If you want to use the full power of MCE, you should make your talents child classes of modifiers. And you will be doing something like this. Custom events, receiving info from widget. So this is being called when you press the button on your widget. For now, we're just going to say when you press P, key P, input P. When you press P, it's going to receive it's going to simulate the fact that we received the information from our widget. The fact that, I don't know, we selected a talent, a perk. If you know Heroes of the Storm, let's say you have your widget pop-up, choose a talent. And then you clicked the third one, and it's sending the information to your third-person character. You are receiving the information here. And then you can say, okay, I want to learn a talent. I want to add a networked modifier, because if someone disconnects from the game and reconnects, I want him to see the modifier. And if someone is not connected yet, I want him to see the modifier when he gets into the game. So let's say I'm adding, it only works with modifier, not trigger modifiers. So you can only do it with child classes of modifiers. So let's say you added that modifier to that guy, or you could be specifying a skill, get skill, for instance, get active skill. For instance, you could be saying that you added the modifier to the skill, to the first skill of this character, but you cannot do it like this. You need to be saying, you need to run a server event. You need to say server add modifier. You can call this however you want. You need to make this run on server, and you need to make this reliable. And now you can say add modifier on server and do it like this. So when I press P, it's sending an information. It's calling receive info from widgets, which is calling the server. The server is asked to add a networked modifier, which is that. So everyone is going to receive that information, and if someone connects, it's going to have the information as well. And you can make that a little bit more modular. You can do, and in here, and now you can do anything you want. But a simple example will be something like this, for instance. Drag and dropping the wires makes it so the event receiving info from widgets asks you what modifier you want to add, and to what skill index. So that's an example of how you can set up multiplayer modifiers using add networked modifier. And how could I be? What else should I be talking about? So anytime you want to add a modifier to the player, but not through the regular means, the built-in MCE means, not using status and passive skills. So basically, when you want to add modifiers from widgets, from controllers, from save games, you want to use that logic. You want to do something that says run an event on server and add the networked modifier. And you need to be calling these either on the player character or on the player controller. So it's going to wrap up the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.